always there.
Leading the way.
Protecting you, becoming a part of your family.
It started as a goal to be your source for local news. Fast forward to today, and our commitment to coverage remains timeless.
Wish TV, a finger on the pulse of today, an eye on tomorrow. Also, we can show you what's happening in an instant. Wish TV, celebrating 50 years in Indiana.
At Value City Furniture, we're giving you 36 hours to save on our most popular microfiber living rooms.
Microfiber is the durable fabric that looks and feels like suede.
Right now, you can own this sleek microfiber sofa and matching love seat for only $6.99.
Or this 3-piece microfiber sectional for just $15.99. But hurry, these prices won't last long.
The 36-hour sale, now through Sunday at Value City Furniture. You just can't do any better.
And visit us on the web at vcf.com.
See, the Touareg's interior is intuitively designed. Everything's right where you need it. From the 10-speaker stereo, to climate control, to everything. Feel the seat cradle you, how your foot's connected to the pedal. That's just you and the... You might want to...
Thanks.
No problem.
Want to find out what makes a Volkswagen a Volkswagen? Come drive it. You'll get it.
Hi, I'm Jim Perdue, chairman of Perdue Farms. Some people think I'm obsessed with making my chickens meatier. That's just not true. Sure, I want my chickens to have the meatiest breast. And yes, over 25 years ago, we developed our own breed to be the meatiest chicken you can buy.
We're going to talk about the Perdue diet.
But obsessed with meaty? Where's that coming from? Okay, 3 sets of 10, let's go. You're gonna need your wings, here we go.
Perdue, a healthy obsession with chicken.
It's time for the Chrysler Model Year-End Clearance. Pretty soon, the last of the 2004 vehicles will be gone. But until September 30th, the best selection is waiting for you. Choose from the versatile PT Cruiser, spacious Sebring sedan, or America's best-selling convertible Sebring. Plus, get our 770 powertrain limited warranty. It all ends September 30th, so get to the Chrysler Model Year-End Clearance today. Now get $1,000 bonus cash for a combined cash allowance of up to $5,000 on select Chrysler vehicles.
60 Minutes will be seen at 9 tonight so that we may bring you the following special. Wish at 50, remembering our future. Next.
50 is brought to you by Union Federal Bank, Clarion Health Partners, the Indiana Civil Rights Commission, and by Huntington Bank.
This is WISH-TV. Television news is...
Ask not have a dream.
What remained of the space shuttle?
Channel 8's been watching these changes while you've been watching us.
Gas prices.
Celebrating 50 years in Central Indiana, this is Wish at 50, remembering our future. Now, here are News 8's Mike Ahern and Debbie Knox.
Good evening and welcome to Our Future. Tonight we look ahead to the next 50 years at Wish TV while honoring the 50 years we have been on the air.
50 years. When this station went on the air in 1954, there was no videotape, no live cameras, no satellites. In fact, there was no real news department, just a handful of dedicated people armed with cameras that shot black and white news film.
Yeah, so imagine how far we've come and how far we have to go. The fact is, here at Wish TV, we've always looked ahead. That's why we pioneered videotape. We had the first portable cameras for news gathering, and back in the 60s, we started the city's first one-hour newscast and the first half-hour morning newscast.
Each day, we bring you a snapshot of what's making news in Indianapolis, in Central Indiana, and the world. And we look at how what happens today impacts what will happen tomorrow.
For half a century, we have reported and recorded how Indianapolis and Central Indiana have grown and changed. Now, as we look back, we can remember how we created our future and how much different it is from what we thought it would be.
Like our city and state, we continue to grow and change. Today, digital technology is transforming how we gather, store, and send information.
You won't find film reels anymore. Everything is being digitized and computerized. That gives us random, instantaneous access to virtually everything and everyone who has made news in Indianapolis and Central Indiana.
Back in the days of black and white, we tuned in to wish for what would become the future of music when the Beatles landed in Indianapolis on their first tour of the United States.
The Beatles gave 2 concerts at the State Fairgrounds Coliseum. Somehow, a Wish cameraman got into the show and brought back exclusive pictures. Wish covered the Beatles every step of the way, right up to the time their plane left the runway. We all sensed the future was being created. Wish was also there to cover a rock star of that emerging future, a kid from southern Indiana named John Mellencamp.
This land is your land.
Mellencamp made a name for himself across the country and around the world, but then came back home to his small town.
I'm walking up Fifth Avenue today, and I'm on my way to work.
About the same time, another young man from Indiana, David Letterman, was making a name for himself and changing the future of comedy on late-night television. But one familiar face made her first TV home right here on Wish TV.
One-stop shopping can save you time.
That was Jane Pauley then. This is Jane Pauley now. She's returned to Wish as host of the Jane Pauley Show. Welcome home to Wish TV and to Indianapolis.
Well, you don't know how good it is.
Isn't it great?
You don't. You really don't. You can't. It's just so great, and to see you. And I said, I love you, Mike Ahern, and I do. And this building, I've decided, this building is a metaphor for Indianapolis.
I was going to ask you about that because this building has obviously changed a great deal since you were here, and the city has changed. What's the perception of Indianapolis out there? You know, when you and I were working here, it was Naptown.
Totally.
Definitely.
Yeah.
It's changed a bit.
Naptown, India, no place.
Yep, exactly.
It's totally India someplace.
Jane Pauley grew up on the east side of Indianapolis and graduated from Warren Central High School. It took her just a few years to make the leap from her first job here at Wish TV to a career as a network news anchor. I got to ask you this because I've read this several times. People who have gained celebrity status, they say the hardest part of the job is coming back to their hometown because these are people who knew you when. And, you know, no matter what your achievement might be, there's some person out there who needs to be convinced yet.
No, I don't have that process. I don't have that problem, Mike, and there's a reason for that. I never got over, and I have said this 1,000 times. I believed it. I have said it in company far and wide, that I never felt that I would ever attain the stature of, in particular, Mike Ahern. So it wasn't just that Mike Ahern doesn't know how cool I am. It's that I know how cool you are, and honestly, so it wasn't an adjustment. That's factored in.
We agree with Jane. Indianapolis has come a long way in the last few years. All it takes is a look around the city.
This is no one-horse town, and it's not a one-sports town either. That's thanks to a few visionaries who created a new future. News 8 sports team Anthony Calhoun, Chris Widlick, and Nicole Mansky show us how the rise of amateur and professional sports helped propel the Circle City to what it's become today.
Several decades ago, the city's community leaders had a radical ideal. Create a business strategy to make Indianapolis the amateur sports capital of the world. Since then, the city has spent millions of dollars and invested thousands of hours in an effort to attract the top national and international sporting events. The gamble has paid off as Indianapolis's reputation continues to grow with each successful event. But it was basketball that first put Indiana on the map. Although there are many successful programs around the state, none can match the prestige of IU, led by head coach Bob Knight. The Hoosiers won 3 national titles. However, Knight's legendary temper earned him just as much attention as his on-court success.
Who the hell told you I wasn't going to be here? I'd like to know. Do you have any idea who it was?
Yeah, I do, Coach.
Who?
I'll point them out to you in a while.
They were from Indiana, right?
No, they're not.
No, weren't from Indiana, and you didn't get it from anybody from Indiana, did you?
Could we please address
No, I'll handle this the way I want to handle it now that I'm here. You f***ed it up to begin with. Now just sit there or leave. I don't give a what you do. Now, back to the game. Who asked that question? Was he sitting beside me?
That's what I've been told. I may have been incorrect.
Then why doesn't he come speak to me too if it's such a goddamn offense? Some of you people ought to go find another way of living.
Eventually, Knight's actions became too much of an embarrassment to the school. In the spring of 2000, evidence surfaced of a physical confrontation with a former Indiana player. Mike Ahern has a chance to question the legendary coach about the incident.
Did you grab Neil Reed?
Hey, I probably have grabbed every player that's ever played for me at one time or another, Mike. I mean, I grab guys, I put them in a position, I put them down, I set them here, I block out the guy, I block out somebody. I mean, I've coached that way for 36 years.
But by the neck?
I might have grabbed him by the back of the neck. I might have grabbed the guy and moved him over. I mean, if you choke a guy, I would think that he needs hospitalization, Mike.
Knight was ordered to abide by a zero-tolerance conduct policy, but a run-in with a student outside Assembly Hall was the final straw. On September the 10th of 2000, IU President Miles Brand made the announcement that shook the basketball world.
In an early morning telephone conversation with Coach Knight today, I gave him the option of resigning as head basketball coach. He declined, and I notified him that he was being removed as basketball coach, effective immediately.
The decision brought to an end to one of the most successful yet controversial marriages in sports history. Now, Indiana and Bob Knight have both moved on. As a matter of fact, the Hoosiers played for the national championship in 2002. And Bob Knight, he is now the head coach at Texas Tech. Now, Indiana sports fans aren't just excited about their college sports, they're very passionate about their pro sports as well. Here's Chris Widlick with more.
Any discussion of pro sports in Indiana has to begin with basketball. When the Pacers joined the NBA in 1976, they brought along 3 championships from the now-defunct ABA. The Blue and Gold haven't tasted that kind of success since switching leagues, but they did make a trip to the NBA Finals back in 2000. News 8 followed the Pacers throughout that playoff series, which ended with a disappointing loss in 6 games to the Lakers.
We did an excellent job for 3 quarters, but when it came right down to the end of the game, we really couldn't get the stops that we wanted. But for me, it's been a great experience, and you know, it's unfortunate it's over, but it's time to move on.
The Pacers had most of the pro spotlight until 1984. That's when Colts owner Robert Irsay backed up the Mayflower trucks and moved the NFL franchise from Baltimore to Indianapolis.
And by the authority invested in me as mayor of this city, do hereby proclaim April 2nd, 1984 as Indianapolis Colts Day in Indianapolis.
Wish TV has been the home for the Colts through good times and bad. Though the team hasn't added to its Super Bowl legacy since coming to town, there have been several highlights. In '95, the Colts came one Jim Harbaugh to Aaron Bailey Hail Mary away from earning a trip to the Super Bowl. Then just last fall, the Colts capped a 12-4 regular season with a trip to the AFC Championship game, where they came up just short against New England. The Pacers and Colts aren't the only pro teams to call Indianapolis home over the years. There's been the Fever of the WNBA, the Firebirds of the Arena Football League. The Indians have been a AAA baseball affiliate for several years. The Indianapolis Ice competed in several levels of semi-pro hockey, and the Blast were a minor league soccer club. You have to go back to the Pacer days of the ABA to find the last major championship in the city of Indianapolis, but the teams in town remain committed to raising another title trophy. Both the Pacers and the Colts play key roles in the Circle City, but you can't forget the impact of auto racing. Nicole Mansky has more on the rise of the IRL.
Every May, the focus of Indianapolis in the racing world turns to the town of Speedway, Indiana. The Indianapolis 500 attracts the world's top drivers, all vying for a chance to add their face to the Borg Warner Trophy. But a new era of motorsports began in 1994 when IMS President Tony George announced plans for a new racing series. The Indy Racing League would break away from the old governing body and take with it the Indy 500. The goal was to return open-wheel racing to its roots, with a focus on oval track racing at a competitive cost.
The structure that we've been dealing in the last, 10 years has been cumbersome and not very efficient. And this is starting with a fresh, clean sheet of paper, and we're starting to, make good use of that.
It wasn't an easy separation. The IRL's first season in 1996 consisted of just 3 races, but it still had the one attraction no other series could match, the Indy 500. 33 drivers lined up at the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on May 26th for the first time under the IRL banner. At the end of the day, it was Hemmelgard racing driver Buddy Lazier celebrating with a traditional bottle of milk as the winner of the 80th running of the Indy 500.
I just took some huge risks on the last 10 laps.
huge risks and frightened myself a little bit every lap because I wasn't sure if the car was going to stay under me. But if you're going to take those risks, it's the last 10 laps at the Indianapolis 500 is the time to take them. If there's any time, that's the time.
Green flag, green flag. And so the 100th race is underway as Castroneves moves quickly to the lead.
Despite their early struggles, the Indy Racing League is showing no signs of slowing down. On August 29th, the IRL reached its 100th race milestone. It was a significant number for a league that had just 3 races that inaugural year.
8 years later, the IRL hardly resembles the series it once was. Some of the teams that left after the initial split are back, and next year the IRL plans on adding 2 road races. But despite some of the changes, one thing will always remain the constant: the event in May known as the greatest spectacle in racing.
The evolving sports landscape in Indianapolis cannot begin to compete with the ever-changing weather. See how rapidly changing technology has helped Wish TV meteorologists keep you ahead of the storm year after year, day after day. And one of the darkest days in history was broadcast live one September morning. We will always remember the horrific scenes of September 11, 2001.
Every meaningful endeavor starts with a game plan. In 1887, the only Colts in town pulled wagons, and Union Federal Bank's game plan was to become your hometown bank. Through years of community and customer service, Union Federal Bank has become a keystone of our communities, and our game plan for the future is to stay there. Union Federal Bank, all your bank should be.
For years, the big screen has brought you countless tales of the strong and powerful. Now, this summer, it's time to experience the story of the one king, the one ruler that rose to the top and stayed there. The Ford F-150, 2004 Motor Trend Truck of the Year. And now during the One Big Event Ford Authorized Clearance, you can get up to $4,500 cash back. The Ford F-150, ruling the planet. Now playing for a limited time at your Indiana Ford store.
Believe it or not, housing discrimination is not just a race thing.
Okay.
Yes?
Hi, I called about the ad for an apartment for rent.
Uh-huh.
The rent was $550 a month, according to the ad, correct?
Well, that would be for a 2-bedroom unit. Is this your daughter?
Yes, this is Julie, and she's about to get a baby sister very soon.
Do you have any other kids?
Yes, I have 2 older sons that'll be staying with us
Nah, there's
sometimes.
too many kids.
If you think housing discrimination is only about the color of you or your kid's skin, you're wrong. Sometimes it happens just because you have kids. But that's still discrimination, and it's still illegal. If you believe you've been a victim of housing discrimination because of your skin color or number of kids, call the Indiana Civil Rights Commission today at 1-866-3-FAIR-4-YOU. That's 1-866-332-4748. Fair housing is your right, and we'll help you fight.
The morning of September 11th, we suddenly faced a new future. A new enemy had declared itself. America was at war, and Indiana was called to play its part. Mary McDermott has a unique view on the subject that began at Ground Zero.
Just hours after the Twin Towers came under attack that horrible Tuesday morning, dozens of Hoosiers sprang into action.
I'll get it to you in just a second.
The rescue workers who made up Indiana Task Force 1 began packing up for New York late in the day on September 11th. They would drive through the night, arriving in Manhattan the next morning. Before they went to work, their chaplain blessed and anointed them.
They're going to be faced with telling 4, 5, 6, 10 guys what to do, and it's important that they have the wisdom and the knowledge to be able to do things right.
These workers stayed in New York for days, helping with the recovery effort. Transplanted Hoosiers played a role too. Heather Scott is a graduate of Indiana University and a producer at CBS News in New York. We spoke with her 3 days after the attacks.
As a journalist, it's it's been a very growing experience. As a person in this city, it's very hard.
Indiana native Melissa Ponzi-Reeby saw the suffering firsthand. She's a social worker at St. Vincent, the hospital closest to Ground Zero.
There's been an immense pouring out of people wanting to donate blood, to volunteer their services, and so kind of directing them where to go, because everyone was very overwhelmed by the generosity that people have had to help out in any way they can. People offering their houses to other people who can't get back home or who need some place to stay.
Indianapolis businessman Terry Fuqua was one of the traumatized. The insurance claims adjuster was in the trade center when the first plane hit.
Absolute fear. I mean, it's the most fearful thing I've ever experienced in my life.
Terry Fuqua returned to Ground Zero 1 year later looking for some kind of closure. Melissa Ponzi-Reeby had a child less than a year later. Heather Scott's been promoted at CBS. And 9 days after 9/11, Task Force One returned to Indianapolis to the arms of loved ones and the cheers of supporters here at Monument Circle. Members of that task force said the 9 days after 9/11 changed them forever. Mary McDermott, 24-Hour News 8.
With the wars that followed in Afghanistan and Iraq, there were big changes in the technology of news gathering. Reporters were embedded on the front lines, bringing their stories home like never before through the digital cameras and satellites.
Here in central Indiana, News 8 crews are able to cover the news live wherever our new digital satellite and microwave trucks can take us. And where they can't go, there's Chopper 8. This new future of electronic news gathering was pioneered step by step and decade by decade to bring the story to you.
One of the first news events of its kind to be broadcast live was the explosion at the State Fairgrounds Coliseum, one of the worst disasters in Indiana history. Wish TV was also there with Robert Kennedy as he won his first presidential primary in Indiana and in Indianapolis on the night Martin Luther King was assassinated.
In this difficult day, in this difficult time for the United States, it's perhaps well to ask what kind of a nation we are and what direction we want to move in.
Wish TV news anchor Rollin Smith took us to Vietnam for a first-hand look at a widening war in Southeast Asia.
I'm Rollin Smith, Channel 8 News. A television reporter goes many places. My latest assignment is Vietnam.
News 8 was there when a military jet crashed into the airport Ramada Inn and when a bomb ripped through the Kokomo courthouse. We took you to Mike Tyson's rape trial and his release from prison. News 8 brought you coverage of Timothy McVeigh's execution for the Oklahoma City bombing. We brought you the shocking pictures of the Space Shuttle Challenger's explosion on takeoff and of Columbia's breakup as it tried to return home. There were also moments when we shared our joy. News 8 brought you coverage of Hoosier astronaut David Wolf's record-setting walk in space.
They may not have set records, but they did warm our hearts as News 8 shared pictures of quintuplets born to the Will family and the Loish family and to the Thompson family. But who could forget the nation's first sextuplets born to the Dillies?
You just can't let the crying get to you because there's times when they all go off at once. And
from our first 15-minute newscast in 1954 to today's 24/7 news cycle, 24-Hour News 8 brings you newscasts in the morning, in the afternoon, in the evening, and at night. Plus news breaks, continuous local weather on cable, and news online all the time at wishtv.com.
50 years of technological innovation has revolutionized how quickly and how accurately we keep you one giant step ahead of threatening weather. I'm meteorologist Angela Buckman. We remember how we created that future next.
What we've discovered in treating the most critical cases has led to breakthroughs in the most common. So, while you may only be with us a short time, each visit reflects nearly 100 years of caring for the people of central Indiana. Methodist Hospital. The difference is our experience.
It's clearance time at Penske Chevrolet. 12 acres, 1,200 Chevys. Every 2004 must go. This week only, Penske Chevrolet has over 100 Trailblazers starting at just $189 a month. Or get a Cavalier for $139 a month. Every vehicle will be sacrificed regardless of price. Make us an offer or bring in our competitor's best price and Penske Chevrolet will beat it. Or we'll give you the vehicle, guaranteed. With a commitment like that, why go anywhere else? Get to the best. Get to Penske Chevrolet. Penske Chevrolet. Nobody bigger, nobody better.
It's so fresh, exciting. It's so exciting to me.
A fresh idea from Papa John's. Our new Spinach Alfredo Chicken Tomato Pizza. Creamy spinach Alfredo sauce. Grilled all-white chicken. Fresh sliced Roma tomatoes. 100% wow. Plus, call now and get Papa John's pizza and a movie.
Taste the difference. Better ingredients, better pizza, Papa John's.
Hard water can be hard on everything in your home. It can clog your pipes,
dry your skin, make laundry dull and scratchy, and leave hard-to-clean soaps gone. The solution? A Culligan water softener. You'll enjoy softer skin, brighter laundry, and easier cleaning. Protect your home with 65 years of Culligan expertise and service. Just say, hey, Culligan man.
Call your local Culligan man today for a great value on soft water, rent or own. Trust the water experts.
Wish TV's state-of-the-art Forecast 8 Center is staffed by Indiana's largest and most knowledgeable team of meteorologists.
Wish TV has the team and the tools to keep you informed during newscasts, news breaks, and 24 hours a day on our local weather station. It's taken a lot of thought, effort, and investment. Forecast 8 meteorologists Steve Bray and Angela Buckman take you inside the evolving science of futurecasting.
Now here's our forecast for the state. In Hoosierland?
Ah, the good old days, like in the 50s when Kay Fields skillfully wrote backwards on the weather map.
At about 10 to 15 miles per hour. Our present reading under cloudy skies, 38
By the
degrees.
70s, sport coats stood out more than our maps. As the computer age dawned, Wish TV's graphics were heading in the right direction. But what we do now blows it away. We can take you through the clouds and show you what's blowing in.
Even days in advance. Wish TV was one of the first stations in the country and the first in Indianapolis to bring you Futurecast.
It's a high-tech computer model showing our changing weather hour by hour.
Our forecasts and big weather events set 24-hour News 8 apart from the crowd. News 8 was there to show you the aftermath of the deadliest tornado outbreak in Indiana history, Palm Sunday 1965. During the super outbreak of 1974, viewers saw the images of the destruction left behind. Wish TV brought you the shot of the Parker City tornado.
Stan Wood, a happy guy who knows the weather before it happens.
We were all happy Stan was on the job in January of '78. It was his forecast of the historic blizzard that put Wish TV on the weather map.
By checking the charts, it became fairly evident that this was going to be not your average central Indiana snowstorm.
Stan's forecast and coverage that night cemented Wish TV's position as the weather leader.
And the Forecast 8 team continues to prove it. June 11th, 1998, Forecast 8 kept you ahead of the storms.
We now have a report of a tornado on the ground near Greentown in Howard County. Go to the lowest floor.
As News 8 crews were following seconds behind.
That big house, there's 8 people trapped, we think. He's with 3 pitchers, come on, somebody take him and check him over.
September 20th, 2002, a tornado carves a path of destruction more than 100 miles long.
All indications from amateur radio operators is that this particular tornado is still on the ground.
May 30th, 2004, Forecast 8's Doppler radar and the Forecast 8 team's ability to use it were vividly on display, tracking one tornado street by street as it tore a path through Indy's south side.
And it's very rare that we see such a clear-cut example of a hook echo with a thunderstorm like this, especially. Forecast 8 has the latest technology and the team that knows how to use it, with the commitment to do whatever it takes to bring you the most accurate coverage on Wish TV, your local weather station.
Stormy weather for the economy over the decades has challenged local government and business leaders.
News 8's Eric Halverson reports changes in international trade, technology, and communications have fundamentally changed the future of how Indiana works.
That headline on the old Indianapolis News tells the story of a struggle. On this day in 1982, Indiana's unemployment rate was 10.4%.
I was the last one hired, so I was the first one to be let go.
Now, she worked at a school. In the auto industry, layoffs were more common, and Chrysler needed a government bailout to survive. Cars always gave Indianapolis an identity, making them or racing them. When Wish TV went on the air, the Indianapolis 500 was the only race in town. Now, Speedway purists hated the idea of Indy cars sharing space with stock cars, but fans loved the Brickyard 400, and now with Formula One, racing raises hundreds of millions of dollars here every year.
These days, a building is either going up or coming down.
When Mike Ahern wrote that, the city was still a one-race town trying to develop a new image. But outside influences disrupted some plans for growth. The federal government phased out Fort Harrison. United Airlines accepted hefty incentives to build this maintenance center in Indianapolis.
We're going to have all these tools and facilities. And
financial trouble forced United to close it.
We got ham today, corned beef, pastrami, Rubens.
Some closings were smaller, such as Weiss's Deli. The owner said great things were coming for downtown Indianapolis. He just couldn't fill his tables long enough to be part of it.
We knew it was a tough decision.
In Carmel, Conseco collapsed into one of America's biggest bankruptcies. It's struggling now to regain its standing in the insurance industry.
We are pleased, really, that
Larry Glasscock hoped Anthem of Indianapolis would become America's largest health insurance company by merging with WellPoint of California.
I know that this is unfair, unreasonable, and prejudicial to policyholders.
This summer, California's insurance commissioner blocked the merger, so Anthem's taking its case to court.
And Lilly people worked at top speed around the clock on the vaccine production.
50 years ago, when we first went on the air, Eli Lilly and Company had been working on trials of the Salk polio vaccine. It's gone on to produce other medicines recognized around the world.
2004 is really a year where we will continue to invest in the launch of our new products.
Lilly's work serves as an example of Indianapolis in the future. We have large companies such as Guidant developing cardiac products.
We have such a history of being market leaders there. We think that bodes very nicely for the corporation.
Suro Surgical is a small company, but it's gaining a reputation in the field of breast cancer treatment. These businesses are leading us toward a new goal, a region less tied to traditional manufacturing and more open to the potential of the new life sciences, with the hope that restores the health of Indiana's economy. Eric Halverson, 24-Hour News 8.
One business that's taken off in Indiana was once illegal here. Passing legislation to change that seemed impossible. But now Hoosiers are more than willing to roll the dice on riverboat casinos and horse tracks across Indiana.
Of course, there's another kind of horse race favorite in Indiana. It's been studied as a science and practiced as a fine art. Remembering the future of politics when we come back.
Your community, your stories.
Your news station for 50 years.
Wish TV, always there.
Leading the way.
Protecting you, becoming a part of your family.
It started as a goal to be your source for local news. Fast forward to today, and our commitment to coverage remains timeless.
Wish TV, a finger on the pulse of today, an eye on tomorrow. Also, we can show you what's happening in an instant. Wish TV, celebrating 50 years in Indiana.
I run the 5,000 meters.
5 steps, and I was gasping.
In 1996, I took the lead in the final.
In 2003, they found a donor heart.
In that moment,
time seemed to stop.
I did not win.
I can't run 5,000 meters.
But in life,
as in the games,
it is not the winning,
but the taking part.
Hyundai Initial Quality is winning people over. The Hyundai Sonata was just named the highest-ranked entry midsize car in Initial Quality by J.D. Power and Associates. That dedication to Initial Quality lets Hyundai offer America's best warranty, 10 years, 100,000 miles. And the feature-packed Hyundai Sonata starts for as little as $14,394. So don't buy another sedan before you check out the highest-ranked Hyundai Sonata. Hyundai, win. Come in now for great deals on all 2004 Hyundais.
Yeah, kiddo.
Did these biscuits get bigger?
Well, yeah. You got bigger.
I did?
Sure.
Now, Pillsbury Homestyle Grand's biscuits bake up bigger and fluffier.
You gonna have another?
Dad, I'm not that big.
Okay.
Taste why Grands are now even grander.
Whoa!
Welcome back to Wish TV's 50th anniversary, Remembering Our Future. Remember the 1960 presidential campaign? Democrat John Kennedy challenged Republican Vice President Richard Nixon in a close and hotly contested race.
They squared off in a debate that utilized the new and very powerful medium of television.
It was a groundbreaking event. After the election, analysts concluded that the images of the candidates broadcast over live television that night was a major factor shaping public opinion and swinging the election in John Kennedy's favor. That broadcast changed the future of American politics and the future of television news. Don Hewitt, its producer, would go on to pioneer another groundbreaking program, 60 Minutes. More than 3 decades later, it continues to make headlines and redefine the balance of power between politics and the news media. In 1963, television united the nation in tragedy, transmitting powerful images after a president was struck down by an assassin. Americans in shock and mourning followed all too soon the death of Martin Luther King. Every night, Wish TV and CBS brought news of those revolutionary times right into our living rooms. And by the 1970s, in living color. Wish chronicled the rise of a new generation of political leaders in Indiana. Richard Lugar was elected mayor of Indianapolis, then United States Senator.
William Hudnut followed Lugar into the mayor's office and remained there for 16 years. He was followed by Stephen Goldsmith, who served 2 terms. With Robert Orr in the governor's office, Republicans seemed to have a solid lock on city and state government. Then came Evan Bayh.
Jim Scheller remembers Indiana's comeback kids.
United States Senator, the Honorable Evan Bayh.
To understand what Evan Bayh means to Indiana Democrats, you first need to know that when Senator Bayh addressed the state convention in June, he was speaking to a party that now expects to be on top.
The Democratic Party's success and longevity is a result of the values and the principles for which we have always stood.
And then you need to look back to the time before Evan Bayh arrived on the scene. In 1985, State Auditor Otis Cox was the only Democrat in the State House. Republicans were in charge of both houses of the General Assembly, and they held both seats in the U.S. Senate. Democrats seemed lost.
Who is the leadership of the party? There isn't any real leadership of the party in any single person.
A year later, in 1986, Bayh defeated Rob Bowen, the son of Republican legend Otis Bowen, to become Secretary of State.
I want to take this opportunity to say to the people throughout the state of Indiana that John Mutz is a fine and honorable man.
And in just 2 years, he stepped up to the governor's office, defeating John Mutz and taking over from Bob Orr to end 20 years of Republican reign. Governor-elect Bayh demonstrated leadership immediately, presiding over the election of 2 speakers to resolve the first tie in the Indiana House.
Congratulations.
And once in office, he signed tax cuts into law, building a record as a fiscal conservative. In the process, Indiana Democrats grew stronger and Indiana Republicans continued to lose ground. Success for Bayh led to success for others in his party. Bayh's lieutenant governor, Frank O'Bannon, won 2 terms in the governor's office. Bayh aide Bart Peterson became the first Democrat to be elected mayor of Indianapolis under Unigov.
I do.
Congratulations.
And Bayh kept going, winning election to the Senate seat once held by his father, Birch Bayh.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
That I will support the Constitution of the United States.
With the death of Governor Frank O'Bannon and the succession of Joe Kernan, Democrats now have a chance to extend the Bayh legacy.
It's not time for a change, my friends. The change is working. It's time to stay the course.
And suddenly the Democrats are looking to match the GOP's 20-year grip on the State House. Jim Scheller, 24-Hour News 8.
Wish TV also reported Indiana politics when it made national news. George Bush announced a surprise choice for vice president at the Republican National Convention in New Orleans, one of Indiana's own.
My choice for the vice presidency is Senator Dan Quayle of Indiana.
Several years later, Senator Richard Lugar became a candidate for president of the United States. His campaign identified an emerging threat, and he issued an early warning.
What this is about is electing a president you trust with your life.
24-Hour News 8 has provided up-to-the-minute election coverage for Central Indiana year after year. This November, you can expect nothing less as we elect a president, governor, senator, and other statewide offices.
Wish TV's commitment to the news is part of its commitment to serving the needs of the community. General Manager Scott Blumenthal shares Wish TV's dedication.
News that makes a difference. Quality family programming. These have been our trademarks for over the past 50 years. But commitment to our community is what Wish TV believes to be our most important responsibility. In addition to many of our own public service campaigns like the Wish Tree, I Love to Read, and our many neighborhood aid programs, each year we partner with dozens of organizations to help raise awareness and funds that support research, education, and local assistance. Wish TV is also proud to be a part of Indiana Black Expo, Fiesta Indianapolis, as well as being home to the city's biggest events, like the Mini Marathon, 500 Festival Parade, Circle City Classic Parade, 4th of July fireworks, and the Sky Concert. Building on a tradition of excellence, the past speaks to our commitment for the future and our promise to continue working in the best interest of our community, your family, and tomorrow's Indiana.
24-Hour News 8 puts education first, from special programming to focused coverage on issues affecting Indiana schools and school children. Remembering the future of education in Indiana, just ahead.
Indianapolis, also known as the Circle City. I'm Joy DeMandon with the evolution of downtown and how Wish TV has followed its growth.
You were mesmerized while a brave explorer discovered a new world. You witnessed a heroic explorer tell Houston, "We have a problem." Now, this summer, another explorer will take you farther than you ever imagined. The Ford Explorer. During the One Big Event Ford Authorized Clearance, get $4,500 cash back plus $1,500 clearance cash, totaling up to $6,000 clearance savings. Ford Explorer. Your adventure awaits you at your Indiana Ford store.
A constant traveler like me always comes home convinced that we got a great comeback in us. We just need a fresh start to turn it loose. We haven't been governed by bad people, but we have been badly governed. Nobody meant for us to lose more jobs and income, young people in other states. Surely nobody meant for state government to deteriorate. But in the end, it's results that matter. And we need to thank people for their effort these last 16 years, but make a fresh start with people who are determined for Indiana not simply to improve, but to be great.
Hurry to Value City Furniture for the biggest leather sale in the country.
$20 million in Italian leather must be sold now.
Choose from a huge assortment, like either of these 100% Italian leather sofa love seat packages. Now just $9.99. You save over half.
Plus, buy now with no money down, no interest, and no monthly payments until March 2005.
Get the best leather values in America now during the 36-hour sale at Value City Furniture.
You just can't do any better.
Faster than a decongestant, more powerful than a stuffy nose. It's Breathe Right nasal strips. Come on, honey. My allergies keep me up every night. How's this gonna help?
The same way it helps my snoring every night.
Until you try for yourself, it's hard to believe the instant nasal congestion relief that comes from Breathe Right strips. Nasal congestion limits airflow, but Breathe Right's patented reflex action gently lifts open nasal passages to help you get more air. Breathe better, sleep better with Breathe Right. Original tan or clear for sensitive skin.
The foundation of a thriving community is a solid public and private educational system. From court-ordered desegregation to I-STEP testing, the growth of alternative schools, and a first-rate downtown university, Leslie Olson brings us the future of education in the making.
In 1954, the same year that Wish TV debuted, education in this nation changed forever. The United States Supreme Court declared that racial segregation in public schools violates the Constitution. The case was called Brown versus the Board of Education of Topeka, Kansas.
Since we have more than 200...
It would take many years of legal wrangling in Judge S. Hugh Dillon's federal court before school desegregation was ordered in Marion County. On August 19, 1981, 5,600 inner-city black students began their often lengthy commute from the Indianapolis Public School District to 6 Marion County Township School Districts.
We were excited about the opportunity to go to a new school.
Many of the students were nervous. Some were eager. Jimmy Meadows is now an elementary principal in Warren Township, the township where he was once bused. Fast forward 10 years and local education takes another dramatic turn. The community is stunned when schools feel the need to start searching students and their lockers for drugs and weapons.
You can't get hurt by guns, because I got one, and that's why I'm always careful with my guns, because I always leave mine loaded.
Find the word that names something that can live in the water.
The late 80s and early 90s were a time for tweaking a new test mandated by the state legislature. Now and in the foreseeable future, I-STEP is a test with major implications for students and schools.
Well, it's sad, but you have to move on, I guess.
By 1995, desegregation and low test scores were taking a toll on the state's largest school system. Teachers and students at Howe and Washington high schools packed up boxes after the Indianapolis Public School Board decided to close those schools. The district had lost thousands of students.
Yes, boy, this is years of accumulation here.
It was also in the mid to late 90s that parents started demanding alternatives to traditional public schools.
How you doing? Good morning.
It took years of legislative battles, but on August 29, 2002, Central Indiana's first charter school opened. Charter schools are public schools freed from many government regulations. Indianapolis Mayor Bart Peterson remains the sponsor of the 21st Century Charter School.
We have very, very high standards for this and the other charter schools that I have sponsored.
Now, 50 years after Brown versus the Board of Education, court-ordered busing is being phased out. Black students are returning to IPS. But while the township neighborhoods and schools are more diverse, 9 out of 10 IPS students are black. Once again, segregation appears part of the future for many Central Indiana schools. Leslie Olson, 24 Hour, News 8.
A solid foundation, of course, is what's allowed visionaries to build superstructures of optimism and wonder in our city. Environments where we can enjoy time with our families, shop, play, general, have fun. Joy Demanded now looks back at the evolution of downtown Indianapolis, the true crossroads of America.
Once referred to as Indiana No Place, the Circle City has become a destination for sporting events, conventions, and the arts. And what better place to spend some spare time than at a museum like the Eiteljorg right along the canal. Then there's Circle Center Mall, the shopping mecca of downtown. And a few blocks away, the RCA Dome, home to the Indianapolis Colts and Final Four action.
He has reinstated the magic.
The Dome has hosted 3 men's NCAA Final Fours, and it's Indiana's love for basketball which first brought the game downtown. In 1974, Wish TV was there when Market Square Arena was built. The $23.5 million home of the Indiana Pacers was a vision of former Indianapolis Mayor and now Senator Richard Lugar. A decade later, the Hoosier Dome, now known as the RCA Dome, opened. There wasn't even a team committed to play inside. But soon, our cameras were rolling as the NFL Colts moved to Indianapolis from Baltimore, Maryland.
Well, I've had many fine moments as mayor, and I can't say that this is the finest, but this is certainly one that should make the entire city, as well as myself, very happy.
And the fans celebrated getting a professional football team.
We had better offers. I did, choose Indianapolis.
Indianapolis even went international when it hosted the Pan Am Games in 1987. More than 4,000 athletes from 38 countries converged on downtown. Before you knew it, minor league baseball got a major boost when the Indians moved into Victory Field. And when the National Collegiate Athletic Association moved its headquarters to Indianapolis, that was what some called a major coup.
It further reinforced our image as a sports capital of the world.
Indiana, welcome home to Conseco Fieldhouse.
Modern yet retro would describe Conseco Fieldhouse, which the Pacers would eventually call their new home in 1999.
Y'all ready for this?
But that eventually led to the end of an era for Market Square Arena on July 8, 2001. Wish TV broadcast the implosion during our Daybreak show.
Perfect shot.
Luring people downtown wasn't always easy, but city leaders believed another draw besides sports could be culture. In 1988, the $64 million Indianapolis Zoo opened in White River State Park.
More than 1 million people come to the zoo every year.
Monkeys are wild.
Other notables that call White River State Park home, the zoo's new next-door neighbor, White River Gardens, the Eiteljorg Museum of American Indians and Western Art, and the new Indiana State Museum.
Look at this building. It's big, it's strong, it's imaginative and interesting.
In 1986, America's first Union Railway depot, Union Station, reopened as a festival marketplace. Still, retailers struggled, not just at Union Station, but downtown giants, Blocks, Later, Lazarus and Ellis Ayres closed their doors in the early 90s. The tide would turn when Circle Center Mall opened in 1995 at a price tag of nearly $320 million. A sensible investment when you consider the retail and restaurant development that followed the mall into downtown. Our skyline has evolved over the past 50 years with landmarks such as the City County Building, the Indiana National Bank Building, or west of that, the 38-story American United Life Office Tower. Then there's a 52-story Bank One Tower. Today, no matter what direction you're coming from, you know you're reaching the heart of the city when you see the two antennas from the distance. People started coming and staying, and luxury hotels continue to pop up everywhere.
We have almost 5,000 hotel rooms downtown.
And the best is yet to come. The skyline will see more change when two tall towers rise from the ashes of MSA. The city will have its first 5-star hotel when the 23-story Conrad opens across from Circle Center.
And definitely downtown has grown upward and outward.
The arts, shopping, sports make up the ever-changing skyline of Indianapolis. Joy Demandin, 24-Hour News 8.
As downtown evolves, so does the television programming you enjoy in the morning, afternoons, and evenings.
Right now, let's do a warm-up.
Next, how Wish TV has led the way in entertainment programming.
A new Honda. This week is the best time to buy from Penske Honda. With the new 2005 Hondas arriving, Penske Honda is making room by selling the 2004s at never-before-seen prices. This week only, lease an Accord LX for just $199 a month, or get a hot new Civic for only $159 a month. Every 2004 Honda has been priced to sell. Don't miss out. Get to Penske Honda today to take advantage of your last chance to drive a new 2004 Honda at the lowest price of the year. Penske Honda. Nobody bigger, nobody better.
Finding the right health plan can seem like you're in a real maze. So when it's time to decide, being able to choose can make all the difference. That's why with Sagamore Health Network, you get lots of choices. From more doctors to choose from, to more hospitals to choose for care. So next time, choose a health plan that's not a maze, just amazing. Sagamore Health Network, simply the better choice.
Where do you want to go? Chances are we have a great sale fare to get you there. During the ATA Fare Better sale, you can get low sale fares to over 40 destinations with plenty of nonstops. You'll fare better on ATA.
So I'm gonna go easy, go ATA. I'm gonna go easy, go ATA.
For 50 years, Wish TV and CBS have been bringing you groundbreaking entertainment. From I Love Lucy to decades of 60 Minutes and The Guiding Light to the leader in reality television, Survivor.
Entertainment reporter Patty Spittler shows us how Wish continues to be the station for cutting-edge television.
The Guiding Light has wrapped soap opera fans in the drama of the fictional town of Springfield since 1937, starting as a 15-minute radio show before paving the way on television for As the World Turns and The Young and the Restless. Drama isn't only for CBS daytime. Central Indiana viewers were big fans of Gunsmoke when it debuted in 1955. It was the same year that Alfred Hitchcock brought his famous brand of movie suspense to the small screen. Hoosiers were chilled by The Twilight Zone. And who could forget late-night movies on Wish with Selwyn and his Bizarre Vine? Warm, family-oriented drama always had a home with Wish TV viewers when they tuned in to The Waltons and Dr. Quinn, Medicine Woman, and Touched by an Angel. But if you prefer your drama filled with treachery, deceit, and downright backstabbing, nobody brought that home better than the Ewings in Dallas. Viewers were on the edge of their seats waiting to learn who shot JR. Craving more action? It's always on Wish TV. From the spy games of Mission Impossible through decades of some of the most popular cop shows ever, Wish TV has kick. In the new millennium, CSI rocked the world of primetime television, taking TV crime investigation high-tech. It spawned the hit spin-off CSI Miami and new this season, CSI New York. The game show fun on CBS started with What's My Line? But the premier game show of all time remains The Price is Right, which taped its 6,000th episode this year. Made host Bob Barker an American icon, too. Ed Sullivan was already wowing viewers when Wish TV signed on, as was the incredible Jackie Gleason. Then in 1967, comedian Carol Burnett launched a show that kept America laughing all the way through the 70s. Sometimes it kept her laughing too, but when it comes to laughter, nothing can match the persona of Lucille Ball. I Love Lucy was a landmark comedy like nothing else on American television. Lucy paved the way for more incredible comedy, from The Honeymooners to The Andy Griffith Show, Gilligan's Island, Bob Newhart, and more. Landmark shows like All in the Family and MASH brought both laughter and heartache home. The tidal wave of reality shows started right here with Survivor, a wave viewers are still riding high. You've always had the best of television in Wish TV, keeping the faith with The Chapel Door, pioneering TV exercise shows with Debbie Drake, to the insightful local talk show of Janet Langhart Cohen. And now you can enjoy the latest in talk with Indianapolis native Jane Pauley every day on Wish TV at 4 o'clock.
No, it's not going to be about issues other than life issues. It's going to be about life issues.
It's hard to appreciate how far we've come without a look back. Some of our favorite faces and moments when we return.
Every meaningful endeavor starts with a game plan. In 1887, the only Colts in town pulled wagons, and Union Federal Bank's game plan was to become your hometown bank. Through years of community and customer service, Union Federal Bank has become a keystone of our communities. And our game plan for the future is to stay there. Union Federal Bank. All your bank should be.
It's clearance time at Penske Chevrolet. 12 acres, 1,200 Chevys. Every 2004 must go. This week only, Penske Chevrolet has over 100 Trailblazers starting at just $189 a month. Or get a Cavalier for $139 a month. Every vehicle will be sacrificed regardless of price. Make us an offer or bring in our competitor's best price and Penske Chevrolet will beat it. Or we'll give you the vehicle, guaranteed. With a commitment like that, why go anywhere else? Get to the best. Get to Penske Chevrolet. Penske Chevrolet. Nobody bigger, nobody better.
Washington trade policies encouraged American companies to move abroad. When Joe Kernan became governor, he vowed to fight back. He canceled a major state contract that would have sent our tax dollars overseas. Joe Kernan's plan will cut taxes for companies that bring jobs back to Indiana. He'll create one-stop centers for Hoosier small businesses to cut red tape and provide job training. Learn more about Governor Joe Kernan's action plan.
Back to school means a new look. Get the look you want for the entire family with a complete pair of glasses from $99.98. Only at Dr. Tavel. For the look you want.
What's the difference between their plush leather sofa and this plush leather sofa from Elfish Furniture? About $200. And it's yours now at Elfish Furniture.
So what are your plans for my daughter tonight?
Well, I thought we'd go to the tattoo shop, some body art, a couple of exotic piercings.
When the minimum is all you really want, call 1-800-SAFE-AUTO.
Since signing on the air 50 years ago, Wish TV has pioneered the future of broadcasting in central Indiana. Then we were the first to install videotape recorders. Now we are one of the first to pioneer high-definition television.
News 8's new multi-million-dollar digital newsroom is shared with the news staff of WIIH. The station provides the state's first and only all-Spanish television newscast.
Our fleet of live trucks, satellite trucks, and Chopper 8 are dedicated to providing the best news coverage to some 3 million viewers. Wish TV's commitment to 24-hour news has received local and national recognition.
And Wish has created the future of weather forecasting with Indiana's largest team of meteorologists, state-of-the-art forecast technology, including Forecast 8 Live Doppler, and Indiana's best sports reporting and quality family entertainment.
At Wish TV, we're all about serving you. What else can you wish for? Thinking about the community's needs today, working to meet those needs tomorrow. In another 50 years, we'll be able to look back at what we've accomplished together, remembering our future. But before we go, a look back at how far we've come.
Good evening, sports fans. Let's go around the state for a quick look at our current readings.
I'm Mike Ahern.
I'm Carol Krause.
I'm Debbie Knox for Channel 8 News. Have a good day.
Good evening. Welcome to When Movies Were Movies.
We are the team. Gonna have some fun tonight.
That's what I like most about Stan's weather van. It's out here.
Hey, Mike, better get inside. Storm's coming.
This is News 8, your 24-hour news station.
This shelter is filled with victims of domestic violence, and it's facing a serious budget crisis. Why? It's several $100,000 short.
There was a 10-degree temperature difference just across the viewing area today, all due to the cloud cover when those clouds will move out.
And hurricanes cost Hoosiers their vacations and the cash they spent to take them. Would Trip Insurance get their money back? What you need to know before paying extra for it.
Tonight at 11 on 24-hour News 8.